Music, dance, theater. It's time to take a seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez. Hear from performers, producers, presenters, and creators who enrich our lives in the performing arts. Who's on stage? Here is Tom Alvarez to introduce you.
Hello, and welcome to On the Aisle with me, Tom Alvarez. My guest on today's episode is singer and author Sandi Patty. Known as The Voice for her wide soprano range and expressive flexibility, she's best known for her association with Christian music. Join me now as I go on the aisle with Sandi. Hello, Sandi.
Hi, Tom. How are you? You're one of my favorite people in Indianapolis.
Well, thank you.
And I would say that whether we were on the air or not.
Well, that's great. I really appreciate that. And you know, I'm an unabashed fan with you. And
you're one of the best voices for the arts here in Indianapolis.
Well,
and I know you love the symphony and all they do. And I hope we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Of course, yeah, that's on the list. And you know, how many times have I seen you? I think over the years. And Sandi, I don't know how long it's been since you and I have known each other. I've got to think that it's 15 to 20 years because...
I think so, too. You know, I think my first Yuletide was maybe 25 years ago.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
You know, I have those stats somewhere. I don't remember. But I feel like we really got acquainted, you know, after I started doing Yuletide and the symphonies at Carmel and, you know, all that. So
and I remember, of course, most of the times it was Yuletide, but I'll never forget your performance at the Palladium and Hello Dolly, the concert version.
That was so fun. You know, I loved doing that. I wish that we'd had a little bit more time to just really, you know, do it and get off book and do a full stage. Although, you know, when the ISO does a air quote concert version, it really becomes somewhat of a stage version as well.
Oh, yeah. That Ty Johnson, the executive producer, and Jack Everly, the maestro at the ISO, are brilliant. They're brilliant.
It's so brilliant.
First of all, I'm excited that I'm going to get to see you twice this year. One, the first time is at Hendrix Live. And when I saw that on the website that you were headlining, I thought, oh, this is wonderful. And, you know, Sandi, I went to their opening night, and actually I reviewed it. And I got to meet Chris Petrelli, who runs the place. And you know, I've been to Plainfield a couple of times, and it's like a lot of Indiana towns. It's just charming, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
And now they've got this imposing. Have you seen photos of it, or have you been there yet?
I have seen photos of the inside. And it's just, it's amazing. It's just, you know, it's charming. It's charming in a very classic, excellent way.
Well, it looks like it belongs in, you know, a major market. I mean, because it's got this 3-story lobby that you walk in. It's like amazing. The theater itself, I mean, the space itself is so beautifully designed. I think you're going to be really impressed. It's state of the art. And, you know,
I'm really excited.
And, you know, they had designers from New York who came in, architectural designers, and, you know, all the folks who install theater equipment, and they really, really thought it out very carefully. I'm sure your dressing room is going to be glamorous.
I will take pictures and sneak them to you.
Well, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there for your show. And,
yay.
And I hope there's a meet and greet. I'd love to see you and get a photo with you.
Well, consider it done.
So, how did they find you? Did you know of it in advance and said, "Hey, I want to go there," or was it just by circumstance?
Well, you know, I heard about the great new little performing arts center down in Brown County, and then the new one here in Plainfield that we're talking about. And I think that the Plainfield one just reached out to my people and. You know, said we'd love to have her. We know, you know, because we're back in Indiana. Do you know that?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that. What brings you back, if I may ask?
Well, Yes, absolutely. My parents' health is what really was it was just time to be nearer them. So we are now on the south side, and we moved my parents to the south side of Indianapolis. So you might have heard that my mother moved to heaven last year.
Oh, yes, and I'm very
August.
very sorry to
And
hear that.
we came back just in time. For the last couple of years, had just been back and forth and really assessing their health and where they were living and what they could and couldn't do on their own. And it just seemed like the right season to come and be with them. And I'm so glad we did. My mom got very, very sick after we got here, and she was on hospice. And I know this is the weirdest thing to say, but she had some of her best days while on hospice, because she just was free to be her sassy, snarky, funny, musical self. And on the 22nd of August, she moved to heaven. And so my dad is still here. And so that's really why we're here in this season, is to just be caretakers for my parents. And I think Plainfield kind of knew that, or heard that I was back, and said, hey, how about you just pop over and do a concert one night? And that was such a treat to get that request, and it was one of those easy yeses.
Well, I was really impressed with the management of that organization.
Good.
And you're being there is really going to spotlight that venue. And Chris is a guest on this podcast, and he talked talked at length about how the people of Plainfield, when they were doing their due diligence, they were asked, "What do you want here?" And they said, "We want entertainment." We drive into Indianapolis. We even go all the way to Carmel. But it would be lovely if we could have our own place, And, they've got like 4 or 5 arts groups that are part of that. And, you will focus a lot of attention on them. And, they're booking all kinds of folks. But in my estimation, you're the biggest name that'll be coming along at this point.
You are very sweet.
This podcast has been a terrific opportunity for me to widen my audience, Sandi. This is just so wild what the internet has opened up.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah,
we're thinking about doing our little Saturday night show that we do. I don't know if you've ever caught that on Facebook with me and Don.
I have. Yes, I have. That's a wonderful use of social media.
People have talked about we should do that we should do a podcast. So I think we're kind of thinking about what that might look like.
Well, Sandi, anyway. I think you could do your own show, any format. Have you ever thought about that, hosting a show like this, a podcast?
Sometimes. If someone else would do all the work.
I was just going to say, it is a lot of work. Thanks,
just sit down and, visit with the people.
But as you know, you've been doing this a long time. It's a lot of hustle, isn't it?
It is. It's relationship. It's hey, let's just sit down and have a conversation, but let's record it, if you don't mind,
Yeah. So let's talk about the concert itself. What can you tell me? You don't want to give it all away, but what are some of the songs you're going to be doing?
Well, I like to call this particular concert, it's just more intimate, and just come to our living room and let's just tell some stories and sing some songs. So I call it Stories and Songs. And that's really what it is. It's an evening. I'm going to sing a song that I just wrote as we're coming up on the anniversary of my mom moving to heaven. So I wrote her a song, and I'll be sharing that evening. And then my husband, Don, will be with me, Jay and Amy Rouse, longtime friends and Hoosiers, except they now live in Oklahoma. And they're at the church where Don and I were at the church. So we almost just swapped places a little bit. And then my son Jonathan is going to be with us, and he is just a marvelous human and a great singer. And
really, I didn't know you had musical
pretty
talent.
Fabulous
in your family.
Yeah, there was maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. We got to be featured in Yuletide, so we did a few things.
Oh, now I remember that.
Yeah. And so he's the real tall one who just has such a wonderful story, head injury at 2 and kind of, moved through his life with special needs, but now he's teaching special needs kids and
Wow.
singing whenever I can get him. So that'll be, I think, really, really special.
Shall we call him the voice number 2?
He probably would not like that. He's very, very shy and very, but I think you will enjoy hearing him and just getting a sense of his joy is very contagious. And when he sings, you think that voice comes out of that boy. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So
who's accompanying you?
Old song. Jay Rouse is my piano player and has been my musical director on and off for over 40 years. He and then his wife Amy sing, and so Amy and Jonathan and Don will kind of sing backup. And of course, we do tracks on some of the bigger songs, but we have a lot of intimate moments that are just piano and vocal or a cappella or maybe a story behind this particular song. And
Sandi, that sounds more like a cabaret to me.
It is very, very, yes, because it is very intimate, and it's, people will say as we're exiting and leaving, they'll say what means the most to me, and that is we felt like we were in your living room and you just shared with us, and that's really my goal.
But that's what you do at any venue, including the 1,600 seat Palladium. Even though it's not a small New York cabaret room, you can make it feel like one with the way you connect with people. You have that. You have that quote it factor.
I always say, I've been called by God to do this, but I work for the people. Mm-hmm. And, to connect with the people, to find out, sometimes will be something that's happened in the community, days before I get there, whether it's a tornado or a, horrific crime or something. And, I think, what does this community need? How can I encourage them tonight? And so the people matter so very much to me. And I feel like they are who I work for. And so I want to be a good student of my audience and offer them encouragement in ways that it will make a difference in their life.
Mm-hmm. People who've worked with you have consistently shared with me that what you see is what you get when it comes to Sandi Patty. She is authentic. She truly cares. It's not a facade. What you're seeing is someone compassionate, sincere, and on top of all of that, you're just really laid back and easy to get along with and talk to, backstage. And especially the cast of Yuletide, where you're going to be appearing in the month of December. Those people love you. You guys are like a family,
it is a family, and I learned from Bill Gaither so many years ago that when an event wins, everybody wins. And so we all come together, in Yuletide, because we're with each other night after night after night. Sometimes we have good days, sometimes we have bad days, but we kind of leave that outside the door and step onto the stage and do our work. And as we each show up and do our best and root for each other doing their best, then at the end of the day, the audience has the best experience. And again, that's who we work for. So I always like to say, when the night wins, everybody wins.
And what you bring to, and you in particular, although, I've certainly appreciated the performances of all the other hosts that I have seen over all the years I've been covering it. And I think it's been almost their entire time they've been presenting that show. You know, if you've never been to New York, I always tell people in my reviews that you're going to get the kind of quality that's on the stages of Broadway. I mean, no kidding.
No, I agree with you.
You know, the quality of the production values, you're not going to see anything better than you see in Manhattan or any major stage in any market in this country, you know. And I try to impress on people, it's like, you know, this is something we can really be proud of, having that kind of organization and its quality of its presentation here, you know. And you don't have to pay for a hotel or plane fare to New York City when it's sitting right here, you know.
Right. I'm glad you feel that way, because I think everybody that is part of Yuletide feels very proud of the work that we are honored to get to do.
And of course, all the people that they book who are based in Manhattan too. I'm always so knocked out, but that's Jack Everly and Ty, right? I mean, their connections are just amazing.
And then they'll go and they'll hold auditions, and they'll hold, you know, auditions in Indy. They'll go to New York and hold auditions and really come up with the best cast that can also be just as unified off stage. They have a great knack for that.
Patty,
as they are on stage.
What is your perception of how the ISO and its reputation in the entertainment business from your colleagues around the country? Because I happen to have talked to a lot of people who say they would give their eye teeth to be in that show.
Yeah, I think you talked about the New York factor, and I compare Yuletide a lot to the Radio City Christmas Spectacular.
Yes.
Except there's no animals, but everything is live music at Yuletide. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing pre-recorded. There's nothing that is happening that's adding the sound. You know, what you hear is what is the sound being made in that moment. And if you hear singing and there's no singers on stage, they're singing live off stage. So that to me is one of the most amazing pieces, is the fact that it is 100% live. And then to get to work with an amazing orchestra, probably the most versatile orchestra I know of, can go from playing a night of, you know, classics, Beethoven, Mozart, Brahms, to some of these new pop shows that they are bringing in, is phenomenal.
I just saw Steve Hackman in one of his fusion shows the other night.
Yes.
Beethoven and Beyonce, and it works. Everything he's seen, it's amazing. It's seamless. I mean, you know, you're a musician. You can understand, you know, talk about brilliance that it takes to make that happen, to fuse different genres like that.
And to make it work, and to make it something that people won't go, okay, that is, you know, they're sitting there going, this is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. And it's introducing the classics to a whole another generation. I think it's phenomenal.
I mean, you can appreciate, too, that even in a Broadway show, you're never going to see 80 or 90 musicians on stage. I don't know how...
You know, that is right. You very rarely see any musicians.
Exactly. I know these days you're lucky if you get like 15 to 18 or 19, I believe.
Right, and they're hidden in the pit, so you don't ever really even get to see them. And that is also one of the beauties of this show, is you see the orchestra on the stage, and to see their enthusiasm as they play. And, you know, not a lot of orchestras are like that. You know, sometimes they give off the impression that they're just here to do their job, but they're not really having a great time.
You're calling it in.
This orchestra, they have so much fun playing this incredible music. And, you know, by the end of the run, the performers and the orchestra have really developed a great bond.
Well, I would love to go to your parties. I bet you have some good ones.
And, you know, the last time I was here, we didn't have any because it was just the year after
COVID.
So
That's
all
why I
just
haven't
kind
been
of
able to see you backstage, because they would let people in.
that's right. And
Yeah.
and they've been very, very
No, I
strict about
understand.
that, because once a domino falls, it's a lot of dominoes to fall. So.
Speaking of, you know that the ISO, well, how many years has it been since you hosted? When was the last time?
My first year, well, it's been 3 years.
Okay.
So what was that? 21.
Yeah. Are you
time I
aware
hosted.
that they've had a lot of attrition? That they have a lot of the people that you knew over all the years have retired, and now they have a whole bunch of young people, and it's a different orchestra. It's better if that's possible.
I'm anxious to meet them. Yeah, I did hear that. That some of the members, like the harp player, she's been there for like 40 years. So I heard she is retiring. They're holding auditions for, and some of the string players, Phil, who, used to be the concert master.
Yeah.
He'll come and play some now, but he doesn't play all the time.
He played the Williams concert Saturday night, which I reviewed.
Oh, nice.
And the harpist that you talked about was introduced and got a standing ovation. Jack told them about her retirement. But 41 years she's been there.
41 years, yes.
Yeah. And so how will it be to be in front of that Yuletide audience again for you?
So there's two favorite thing in my Christian music professional world was getting to travel with Women of Faith, which was a women's conference. And then in my other, that didn't really have anything to do with my Christian faith, but it had to do with music, is Yuletide. 100% Yuletide has been my absolute favorite thing to do in my profession.
Well, I can't wait to see you again. It's been a while, and I hope you get some bookings at the Palladium, too, and up here with Michael Feinstein. The songbook is coming up.
Wasn't that fun?
Oh, yeah. And
that's so fun.
Do you ever think you'll come back to help on the Academy again?
I don't know. It's wild, because now we've got 12 grandkids, and they're all over the place. And then, with my dad, and I'm just kind of singing once a month, and it's nice to be in the zone a little bit of, not retired, but pre-tired.
No, I understand.
But if they would ask me, I would very strongly consider it, absolutely.
Well, they're going to hear it here, so we put a bee in their bonnet, right? Well, I think
it's a great program, incredible program.
Well, listen,
Yes.
how do you like your new home, by the way?
We love it. We downsized because we don't have, all the kids at home anymore. We have enough space that if one or two of them want to come and visit for a night, but we just love our neighborhood, and it's all seniors like us, but sassy seniors like us. And we love the South Side. We've just never had gotten acquainted with the South Side because we were always coming from Anderson. So it was just really the North Side that we were aware of, and then, of course, downtown. Mm-hmm. So we really love being on the South Side. It still feels small town Indiana, but it's got a target. So that's my definition of a really great city.
Well, the South Side is developing a reputation for all it has to offer in terms of, most of the franchises that you see on the North Side are now there in that whole area. So you're not missing out on
a lot of great stuff.
Well, listen, it's been a joy and a pleasure to reconnect with you. And
likewise.
So I hope to see you at Hendrix Live that night.
Yes,
and
then we'll try to work out getting you backstage so you can get a peek at the whole building. And okay.
Love to you and your family, and we'll see you up the road.
All right. Thanks so much, Tom.
Our thanks go out to our media sponsor, Urban Times. Urban Times is a monthly news magazine which serves as the official neighborhood newsletter for 16 Indianapolis neighborhoods, offering news about development, arts and entertainment, and from the business community.
Who will take center stage on the podcast next? Your seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez awaits. Follow Tom on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and make sure to visit tomalvarez.studio. Watch Tom every other Thursday on Lifestyle Live on Wish TV, and make sure to listen every week here on the All Indiana Podcast Network.